Have you guys already seen the movie Rocketman? Then you might have some questions about the film's accuracy. Same here. You might be wondering, did Elton John really have an unhappy childhood? Can he really write his music in a matter of minutes? Is it true that Elton John tried to commit suicide? How well is a straight actor doing and portraying a gay man in this film? It's time to find out. This is Jeremy, and you're watching OSSA. Buckle up. Though the film is known as biographical, Taron Egerton, who played Elton John, pointed out that Rocketman is not a biopic. Quote, everyone thinks it's a biopic. It isn't. It's a fantasy musical, so it's actually his songs used to express important beats in his life at emotional moments. He's not the only character that sings. It's going to be fun. Well, if a man who played Gary Eggsy Unwin in the Kingsman organization says so, then we should take his word for it. It's always better to remember that movies are fiction and not documentaries. Rocketman isn't a biopic in the traditional sense of the genre. It's full of fantasized fictional scenes that are more about Elton John's mood in life and the emotional tone of his career than the exact biographical storytelling. But there are also several scenes that might seem like fiction even though they happen for real. Let's start from the beginning of the movie. In the first 20 minutes, we saw Elton as a kid being extremely talented without any serious musical education. He could play back a melody on a piano that he had just heard on the radio for the first time. Can anyone be that genius? Is it possible to recreate a piece of music without any technical expertise? And the answer is yes. Elton John was indeed a child prodigy. His extraordinary musical abilities helped him to enter the Royal Academy of Music at 11 years old. According to his teacher, Elton was able to play back George Friedrich Handel's 4-page piece right after he heard it. Impressive, right? However, this isn't the only impressive musical skill Sir Elton John has. Another scene in the movie shows us Bernie Taupin, the author of most of Elton John's lyrics, giving him a new poem to add some music to. And it only took a few minutes for Elton to create the melody that we now know as Your Song. But is that even possible? Can anyone come up with a smash hit in less than 10 minutes? Surprisingly, this is what actually happened. Sir Elton John managed to create music for Your Song pretty much just as fast as it was shown in the movie. It's pretty much how it happened, Taupin said. I remember his mother in her very sort of dictatorial way going, that's a good one. Elton John always said that if it takes him more than 40 minutes to write a song, then he'll get bored. He admits that he's never had a talent for writing lyrics, and Taupin's poems have always had a mysterious way of unlocking melodies in his mind. It's weird, Elton said. It's kind of Twilight Zone-ish in a way. Well, I'd say it's a perfect collaboration of talent. In 1997, at an audience with Elton John, actor Richard Grant asked Elton to write music to the instructions for his oven. You heard it right. And in less than 2 minutes, he actually did it.
We strongly recommend you take time to read this leaflet fully from cover to cover. Get to know all there is to know about your new album.
Let's move on to the next question, and true Elton fans will surely know the answer to this one. How many of you guys know Elton John's real name? That's right, his name is Reginald Kenneth Dwight. He decided to change it for something more catchy. But how did he actually come up with the name Elton John? According to the movie, he chose Elton based on his bandmate's name, Elton Dean, and he chose the second name while looking at a photo of John Lennon. Did any of those things really happen? Well, partially. In 1973, in an interview with Rolling Stone, Elton talked about how he came up with his stage name. He was coming home from a concert in Scotland with his ex-bandmates Elton Dean and John Baldry. Quote, I said, I've got to think of a name. I'm fed up with Reg Dwight. I can't be Reg Dwight. If I'm going to be a singer, I've got to think of a name. So Elton Dean's name I pinched, and John Baldry's name, and I said, oh, Elton John. There you go. And it might be a bit disappointing for some of you, but the scene with the picture of John Lennon is 100% made up. It never really happened. I know. And what do you guys think about Elton's relationship with his parents? Were they really so indifferent about him? In the movie, Elton's mom and dad seemed pretty cold and aloof about his passion for music. Yes, they did help him develop his musical talent in his childhood, but they didn't care about his creativity that much. So was that all just fiction or reality? Elton's parents did have a great influence on his early musical inclination. Sir John has mentioned plenty of times that his interest in music started in his early childhood as he listened to his parents' record collection. And this is something we see at the very beginning of the movie. Quote, the first records I ever heard were K-Star and Billy May and Tennessee Ernie Ford. I grew up in that era, John said. I was 3 or 4 when I first started listening to records like that. However, in his interview in 2011 with the Sunday Times, Elton said that his relationship with his father was tough and hard, and that his father was an unemotional man who was dismissive, disappointed, and finally absent. Elton just wanted his dad to acknowledge what he had done, but he never did. Considering that Sir John doesn't like to talk about his parents in interviews a lot, and knowing all the things he's already said, it seems that the movie creators did their job pretty accurately and respectfully. Let's talk about his relationship with his manager. Do you remember a guy named John Reid? He wasn't only famous for being Ellen's manager, but Queen's manager as well. And you probably remember Aidan Gillen played John Reid in Bohemian Rhapsody. He's most known for starring in Game of Thrones as Littlefinger. However, in Rocketman, John Reid was played by Richard Madden. Yes, Richard Madden, who played Robb Stark in Game of Thrones. Strangely enough, Aidan Gillen's character appeared in both superstar biopics and was played by two different actors from Game of Thrones. Well, that's a fun coincidence. In terms of the movie's accuracy, here's an example of where it was pretty on point. Except for one small detail. Some folks say that Richard Madden is more attractive than John Reid. Quote, "It's not my place to villainize characters. At the same time, there's a great deal of truth in that portrayal," Bernie Taupin said about the casting decision. "All I can say is John Reid should be happy that someone as good looking as Richard Madden got to play him." And what do you guys think about a straight actor playing a gay man? Was Taron Egerton convincing enough in his performance? Let us know in the comments below. There's recently been plenty of debate about casting for LGBT roles. Some people think that only LGBT actors should portray these roles, while others don't see it as an issue. As for me, Mr. Taron Egerton did a fantastic job, and even Sir Elton John himself confirmed that. "I became an actor to play people who are different from me, and I believe doing this is a great exercise in empathy," Egerton said. "I've always loved the ethos of the LGBTQ community. The exuberance, the irreverence, the warmth, and above all, the inclusiveness. I don't want to live in a world where only gay actors play gay roles and only straight actors play straight people." If you guys want to know more about the LGBTQ scandals surrounding the movie, you should check out our other video on our new channel, Awesome Movies. One of the most dramatic scenes in the movie was the attempted suicide. Elton had been having an extremely tough time in his life, and he just couldn't take it anymore. Well, at least in the movie. But did that happen for real? Was he so depressed that he tried to commit suicide? And the answer is yes and no. The suicide incident where he swallowed 60 Valiums and fell into a pool actually did happen. However, Elton didn't really want to kill himself. It was more of a plea for help. Quote, "It was stress. I'd been working non-stop for 5 years, but it was typical me. There was no way I was going to kill myself doing that, and of course my grandmother came out with the perfect line. I suppose we've all got to go home now." How many of these did you already know? And do you think the movie's creators were accurate enough with the details? Let us know in the comments below. Do you guys know about our new channel, Awesome Movies? There are plenty of interesting videos about your favorite films. Just check it out. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on Awesome Movies channel.